The Black Book of Forex Trading by Paul Langer, Wild Ride.
Yeah, this one's a roller coaster.
No kidding. Langer's journey from like massive losses to making it work is, well, it's a lot.
It's really refreshing, actually. You know, he's brutally honest about his early losses. Doesn't sugarcoat a thing.
Right. And that's huge because so much in this world is all about like instant riches. But he actually shows what it takes to claw your way back from disaster and make consistent profits.
It's kind of inspiring.
Totally. So how did Asterisk go from, well, losing it all to actually being successful?
It wasn't some magic formula, that's for sure. What I love about Langer's story is that it shows how much of trading, honestly, of a lot of things in life is about sticking with it, you know? Like learning the ropes, and this is key, mastering your own mind.
Oh, the mental game. That's huge.
And it's often the hardest part.
Totally. Because anyone can say be disciplined, but actually doing it when there's like real money on the line, different story.
Yeah.
One thing that really struck me early on is how Langer talks about that allure of Forex, right? Like that dream of freedom, calling your own shots.
That's what draws so many people in, right?
Absolutely. But he's also brutally honest. Sorry, keep using that word. But it fits brutally honest about the risks, especially if you jump in unprepared.
Which is unfortunately what a lot of people do, right? They see the potential for those quick glitches, but underestimate the complexity.
And Langer learned that the hard way.
The hard way.
That $50,000 loss he talks about. Ooh.
Yeah.
That section of the book should almost be required reading, you know? Like, here's what not asterisk to do.
Right.
You can practically feel the weight of those losses as he's describing them. The doubt, the wondering if he's ever going to figure it out.
It's raw.
So what was he doing wrong in those early days?
He fell into a classic beginner trap, which is searching for that magic bullet, you know? He was hopping between systems and indicators, convinced the next complicated thing would be the answer.
Oh, I've been there. He talks about getting sucked into those hyped up courses, fancy brokers.
Oh, yeah.
He even worked with like a pricey trading coach at one point.
It's so easy to get caught up in all that.
And ultimately, it wasn't the tools that were the problem.
It was him. So relatable.
It's such a huge realization, though, because until you own your part in the equation,
right,
you just keep making the same mistakes. It's about shifting from like seeking some external validation to building that strong internal foundation.
Yes. Like if you're digging yourself a hole, maybe stop digging.
Exactly.
Langer's story is such a good example of how we can sabotage our own success.
Totally. And what's crazy is that his turning point comes from this totally unexpected place, a random chat with a seasoned Forex trader at a bar.
In Napa Valley, of all places.
Right. Talk about right place, right time.
And that turns into this mentorship that basically changes everything for him, right?
Right.
The things this experienced trader, who he calls Robert throughout the book, shares.
It's like totally shifts how he understands the market. Makes you think, you know, who are we letting into our lives? What wisdom were we missing out on?
It really highlights the importance of finding a mentor. Someone who's walked that path. Someone who can offer guidance from actual experience.
Because sometimes the best lessons aren't in some textbook.
They're in the trenches.
So true. It's like
Yeah.
that saying experience is a harsh teacher, but fools will learn from no other.
I like that.
Langer paid for a crash course in the School of Hard Knocks, basically.
Yeah.
And lucky for us, he's sharing his notes.
Exactly.
Maybe we can avoid some of those pitfalls. So one of his biggest aha moments.
Yeah, tell me about it. It wasn't some big flashy thing.
It's almost like he had to like unlearn a lot of what he thought he knew about Forex to really get it. You know?
Exactly. He realized all those so-called holy grail indicators, the get-rich-quick schemes, they just don't work. Or they do, but not how people want them to work.
Right.
Like they lead to more heartbreak than riches. Langer says those real breakthroughs, they weren't some big aha moment. It was more like a series of smaller aha moments.
That like shifted his perspective over time.
Exactly. And the thing that finally clicked for him was the power of simplicity. It wasn't about finding some crazy complicated system, but about consistently using like simple, clear strategies. That's what actually brought the long-term wins.
So it's like those basic principles, but you have to actually stick with them.
Consistency is key.
Which is so much harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
Because it's tempting to overcomplicate things, right? Like there has to be some secret sauce.
Oh, I know.
But sometimes the best solutions really are the straightforward ones.
Absolutely. And you know, This all ties back into something Langer talks about a lot, which is the mental game of trading.
Oh, yeah.
Because he says it straight up, your biggest enemy isn't the market, it's you.
Ugh, so true. It's so easy to get caught up in the emotions of it all.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like letting fear and greed make your decisions for you. Recipe for disaster.
The worst.
And Langer goes really deep on this, talking about all the mental traps traders fall into, like fixating on the money so much that it clouds their judgment.
Oh, yeah.
He even talks about how he had to rewire his own thinking, like from the ground up.
Wow. It's one thing to asterisk. No, asterisk, you need discipline, emotional control.
Right.
But to actually do it, when you're staring at the screen, heart racing, real money at stake.
Totally different story.
Totally. Yeah. So what were some of his tactics for like actually mastering that mental game?
One of the biggest things he emphasizes is demo trading.
Oh, interesting. So practicing in that simulation environment where you're not actually risking real money.
Exactly. And look, it's not asterisk the same as the real deal emotionally, but
Sure.
it's huge for building confidence, you know, and for really internalizing your strategy so that when you are trading with real money.
It's like second nature.
Yes.
I love that. It's like practice makes perfect, right?
Right.
Or at least practice makes you a lot more prepared than someone who's like diving in head first with zero experience.
Exactly. The other thing Langer's a huge advocate for is having a solid trading plan.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So it's not just about strategy, it's about having rules. Clear entry and exit points, things to protect yourself, especially from your own bad impulses.
It's like having that roadmap for when things get a little wild, emotionally speaking.
Exactly.
Didn't he actually give like the pieces of what a solid trading plan looks like?
He does. He lays out this 6-step blueprint that covers like everything, setting goals, figuring out your risk tolerance, picking a trading style that fits your life.
Wow.
He even talks about back testing, which is basically testing your system using historical data.
Smart, before you use real money.
Exactly.
So we've got the mindset piece, demo trading, solid plan. And then Langer drops this truth bomb about position sizing, which he calls the holy grail of trading.
Right.
Even more important than perfect entry or exit strategies, he says.
Which is fascinating, right?
Totally.
Because so many people, especially beginners, totally miss this part.
Yeah.
They focus on the mechanics of the trade, but not how much they're actually risking.
Right.
And that can make or break you in the long run.
It's like, okay, you could have the best chocolate chip cookie recipe in the world.
Okay, I'm listening.
But if you try to bake like 1,000 cookies in an oven meant for 12.
Disaster.
Exactly. It's not going to work.
I love that analogy.
And that's what Langer's getting at with position sizing, right?
Exactly. It's all about managing risk. It's about knowing how much you're willing to lose on a single trade.
Right.
So you avoid those huge blowups that wipe you out completely.
And he gives you a formula for calculating position size, which I thought was super helpful.
It's huge because it helps you take the emotion out of it. It's a clear, objective way to manage that risk.
I love how he takes these complex ideas and breaks them down.
He does.
And he explains the asterisk why asterisk away, which helps it actually stick.
Totally.
But then, just when you think you've got a handle on all this,
Right.
he throws in this other curveball, black swan events.
Yeah.
It's the stuff you just can't predict. He uses that Swiss franc crash, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
And it's a good example of how even if you have a plan, life, or, well, the market can throw a wrench in things. It's kind of unnerving.
Yeah. Those black swan events can definitely shake things up, but you can't predict them.
Right.
But you can prepare for them.
Okay, I like that.
One of the things Langer talks about is always using stop loss orders.
To like limit your losses if things start going south.
Exactly. And the other thing is making sure that not all your eggs are in one basket. So diversify some capital outside of your trading account.
Just in case.
Exactly. It's all about protecting yourself.
Smart.
So yeah, he takes us through all of that and then wraps up with this advice that's both practical, but also a little bit philosophical.
Oh, interesting.
He talks about starting small, scaling up gradually, being patient.
Instead of trying to get those overnight riches.
Right. Slow and steady wins the race.
He even gives like a system for how you could potentially increase your capital as you get better.
It's smart.
It is smart.
It's all about the long game. Trading isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a skill. You have to hone it over time. Anything else like learning a musical instrument or, mastering a sport dedication.
Totally. And that brings us to that kind of thought-provoking idea that he ends on, that at some point, you have to be willing to take all the risk from your account, which is a bold statement.
It is. It's going to resonate differently for everyone, but it speaks to the idea that to really get the most out of trading, to hit those big goals, you have to be willing to bet on yourself completely, but obviously still managing your risk responsibly.
So much to think about. As people are listening to this, starting their own Forex journey, continuing their Forex journey, what do they need to take away from all of this? For me, it's knowledge is power.
100%.
But his book, it gives you the principles, the lessons, the wins, asterisk, and asterisk, the losses, and it really equips you to, navigate this world.
Yeah.
Because Forex is exciting, it's challenging, it's potentially super rewarding, but you got to go in with your eyes open.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, trading is a marathon, not a sprint, right? Be patient, keep learning, and don't be afraid to find a mentor, someone who can guide you.
And maybe someday you'll be sharing your own asterisk black book of trading wisdom.
Maybe so.
Helping others find their way. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive on Forex trading. Until next time, happy trading, everyone.